Another weekend of NFL football in the books. We're reacting to Week 10 today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making Locked On NFL Scouting your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate you all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Joe, bye week for me, and I had a chance to watch from the Germany game all the way through to the end of Sunday Night Football, and I am very much now a proponent of this idea of 2 bye weeks. I feel great, very relaxed, enjoyed a lot of football. A lot of
changes everything.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, you get more time to rest your players. Makes more sense with the longer season. It makes Thursday Night Football make more sense. It would put the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend, so everybody's off on Monday. Yeah, there's no loss. There's no loss whatsoever. I know we want to react to Week 10 of the NFL season, but Kyle, this Jimbo Fisher news has me feeling some type of way. And I not that I care. Like, I can care less about Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. They're both going to be okay, right? Jimbo Fisher is going to pay his bills and all of his family's bills for a long, long time. But man, are there any good college football hires? Like, look at this thing, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who are the good hires? Who are they? It's Kirby Smart. It's Nick Saban, and who? Ryan Day, Jim Harbaugh. Like, but what's going on there? The Washington coach. Like, is anybody getting it right in college football?
No, I think the transfer portal has especially compounded this, where there's an expectation, the expectation to win as compared to expectation to build program, which should be much more of the focus at the college level anyway. And that's not to say you should be Dabo and swear off the transfer portal and handle it the way that he's handled that element of college football either, as the other extreme. But I don't know, Jimbo Fisher felt like he kind of showed you who he was at the end of the Florida State tenure anyway. And to give him the contract that Texas A&M gave him because he has a national championship on his resume, like, what are you going to give Ed Ogeron $150 million guaranteed next just because, the 2019 LSU tires?
Gus Malzahn. I mean, what are we doing?
Right. And Ed showed you long-term what he looks like with the LSU job anyway. It'd be the equivalent of Ed Ogeron getting a $150 million contract with no offset guarantees, where you get $76 million buyout.
It's swing after swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. College football, massive money, paying people not to coach. It's incredible to me. But obviously, we want to talk about Week 10 boosters, whatever, all that stuff is.
Money. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I watched all the football too. It felt like a bye week for me. I got the Bills are my problem tonight. But the Bills were not the problem on Sunday afternoon. So I enjoyed all the football. Bill Belichick making one hell of a decision there to get us started in Frankfurt. Zappy, last drive.
Benching. So the Mack interception was bad, right? I think we can all agree the Mack interception that he kind of floats off his back foot and leaves 15 yards short of Gesicki is a bad throw. Was that the time to put Bailey Zappi in the game?
No chance that was you surveyed the opportunity and said to yourself, you know what? Our best chance is putting in Bailey Zappi under these circumstances to go get a game-winning
games in his entire career.
Insane.
And a 2-minute offense, and asked him to run a fake spike.
Keep him forever, Patriots. Keep Bill forever, please.
I know that's, by the way, frowned upon to talk about Bill like that, but
the Colts finally they don't score 20 points in a game and they win. They win 10-6.
I'm glad that talking point is dead and gone, and we don't have to worry about it anymore.
I'll keep it alive for as long as I can.
Last team to fail to score 20 points a game this season, the Indianapolis Colts.
That's it. They're the
sure
one.
Enough, Patriots defense down all these players, gave him a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. I feel for that defensive unit a little bit. But 10-7 or 10-6 barn burner.
Yeah.
The other AFC exclusive games, you had the Browns beating the Ravens on a walk-off field goal, coming back from 14 points down.
Yeah.
You had the Texans blowing a 10-point lead in the final 4 minutes and then kicking a game-winning field goal in the final play of regulation. And you had the Raiders hold off the New York Jets on Sunday Night Football as the only other AFC exclusive games. Now, I'll give you 2 more games that we could talk about in this block. One is the LA Chargers losing to the Detroit Lions 41-38 in a shootout, and the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Green Bay Packers by a final score of 23-19 with an interception in the final minute of the game in scoring territory that could have put the Packers on top.
I find myself wanting to get to Houston. CJ Stroud leading the NFL in passing yards per game. Dramatic finish here, going toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow. Doesn't have his number 1 receiver. Doesn't have their lead running back. And the guy just found a way
to run the ball anyway. I thought that was one of the more impressive things about the game for Houston.
Yeah, Devin Singletary, 30 carries for $150. They go 188, 5.5 yards per carry as a team. Scrappy football team, man. Like, it's the conversation's no longer can Houston sneak in? Like, no, they're right there with Jacksonville in this division, right? I mean, they're 1 game back, and they're hot. We're gonna ask ourselves all season long how this team loses the Carolina Panthers, right? That's always going to be on our mind. And They certainly, there's a lot of football left, right? You still have to go out and stack wins and do all that stuff. And they're a young football team. So there's that question, but I don't know. They keep finding a way every week. And the last 2 weeks have just been really exciting for the Houston Texans.
Yeah. And we talked last week about CJ Stroud playing big boy football, but in Cincinnati against Joe Burrow, the Bengals do the Bengals thing, where they come back, and it's like, man, like, how many times with these elite quarterbacks have you seen this game script where they're down all game, they score twice in the final 5 minutes, the defense gets a stop, a 3 and out or whatever, a turnover, and they walk out of there with a win. And you thought for sure once Cincinnati got the ball back, down 3, that they were going to score a touchdown, and Tyler Boyd should have caught that touchdown, if we're being honest. But he didn't. And Tyler Boyd was one of the guys that helped put them in position to be in position to win that game. So the game giveth and the game taketh away. So that was a great game. How about Cleveland, Baltimore? I know all of the talk about the Baltimore defense and how ferocious it is, and it looked ferocious again, and a pick 6 on the opening possession for the Browns by Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah.
Then Baltimore goes down on their opening script of plays, and they score a touchdown. So it's 14-0. The Browns miss an extra point, but then kick the game-winning field goal.
Might have been the best thing that happened to them.
Right.
Because then you got to play for the touchdown. And
Right. So really big win for the magnitude of the AFC landscape. When you consider now you have three lost teams in the AFC North. Baltimore potentially would have been in a position they'd have woke up this morning as the 1 seed in the AFC if they won this football game.
I don't know if it's just middle of the season, like victim of that, but it's jumbled. It's jumbled and it'll sort itself out. But I don't know if it's this year. It just seems more jumbled, or
I think it is.
Is it
more than because on the AFC side of things, right? Like the Texans are the 7 seed right now at 5-4. The Jets are the 13 seed at 4-5. So
Bills and Bengals are out.
Right.
Oh God.
So you're a playoff spot, or you're the 3rd worst team in the conference, and it's a 1-game difference.
Yeah.
Like that level of extreme parity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just case in point, the 7 seed in the NFC is Minnesota, and they're 6-4 right now. And the 9 seed is 4-6, 2 games behind them.
There it is. Well, maybe you want to watch this AFC playoff picture shake out in person. Well, head on over to Game Time. That is the place to get tickets. You shouldn't have to worry about getting tickets to your next big event, but you know what? That's just sometimes too often the case. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. They've got killer deals on last-minute tickets, all in prices, views from your seat, and a best price guarantee. They also have an amazing app that you can navigate, super easy to get through, and they also have all-in prices. Plus, they send the tickets right to your phone when you purchase them. You don't have to dig through email. So snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Joe, I do have good news for you.
Okay.
You woke up this morning a game closer to me in the standings.
Why is this a Jets thing?
No, it's the pick'em.
Oh, what happened? I know I had Thursday night.
Yeah, we were 3 games apart.
Yeah.
And we were 3 games different this week.
Okay.
You successfully predicted the Bears would beat the Carolina Panthers, where I picked the Panthers on Thursday Night Football. You also successfully picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to defeat the Tennessee Titans, and I picked the Titans. But I picked the San Francisco 49ers to defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Trent Williams played and screwed me over on that.
Played. Yep.
You know who knows Trent Williams plays? Tyson Campbell. He didn't want any of that smoke on.
Yeah, the business decision of all business decisions. Yeah, he said, nope, I'll make it a hard right.
He said, you know what? We're
to the sideline.
Right? I'm not going to eat this block right now. We're down 30.
So I bring this up because I think that might be a good place to start with the NFC. Is San Francisco going to Jacksonville against a team that was coming off a bye and won 5 straight games and had all the praise that everybody was ready to heap on them. And San Francisco wins this game 34-3 in as dominating of a fashion as anything we saw this side of Dallas, New York. Yes, sir.
I bought into the Jags, and well, obviously they've been winning games, which matters. I bought into that Trevor Lawrence tweet where he's like, y'all keep talking, we'll keep winning games. Like, I felt like they had this big chip on their shoulder that they were ready for to us against the world type thing. And that's a good place to be if you're a football team. And San Francisco said, you know what? We're just going to be better than you. And it started with that first touchdown pass that Brock Purdy threw. No business being a touchdown pass.
Correct.
Just awful
rolling to my left, away from my throwing side, back across the middle, late rainbow lollipop right underneath the uprights.
I also take great exception with them trying to force that touchdown to McCaffrey at the end. Like, come on, what are we doing? Your backup quarterback's in. None of your star players are in. You're just sitting there trying to manufacture a touchdown while you're up 34-3. And I'm not saying like anything about I don't think the records are important or that I felt like that was you were not putting the football team first. I don't care about running up the score and like that.
Christian McCaffrey gets hurt in that.
Right, while your backup quarterback's in
running your offense and Trey Mason's in the game or whoever.
Who cares? Score a touchdown and win 41-3. I won't care at all. But we know what you're doing. Why are you risking that? Especially McCaffrey, who's had injury problems, who's such a key part of your operation. That was goofy to me, but good win. Like, let's not take anything away from San Francisco 49ers.
High quality win. Yeah.
Defense looks like they're fully back. Chase Young and Nick Bosa collaborating on a strip sack. I'm sure that's music to the Niners fans' ears. The linebackers played out of their minds. They played well. Big win for them, especially with Seattle winning.
Right. Seattle walking off with a field goal. I think I saw the record. It was a record number of games that ended with a last play field goal.
Man, it was great.
The history of the NFL.
Great weekend to not have to watch your favorite team on a Sunday. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what happened. I was sitting here, I'm like, this is great.
Right. Wow. Let's just get our teams out of the league and just enjoy it. Must be nice.
I looked down at my clock, and it was like 4:04, and it was Houston's getting the ball back, tied at 27. Cleveland has the ball at midfield against Baltimore in the final minute and a half of the game. New Orleans with Jameis has the ball back down 8 after they got jumped on way early and Carr gets knocked out of the game. And they're down 8 with the ball and a chance to go down and tie it. And I'm like,
Pittsburgh and Green Bay was weird at the end.
Right. So I'm just looking at the clock and I'm like, I got no idea. Like I was going to fill out the spreadsheet for all the games as far as the results and stuff. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't do it right now.
Yeah, it was that was really, really fun. Lions, Chargers, I think we got to spend a little time there, right?
Yeah, I think so. Very reminiscent of the Chargers' first game this season, which was
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
30, was it 33-31, I think was the final score of that one. Dolphins Chargers game where it just was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I think the most prominent thing for me is credit to Detroit for going for it on 4th down.
4th and 2. Yeah.
Yep. That it takes stones. And the broadcast was like that. There's probably two or three coaches in the league that would make this decision, and they're probably both standing right here on this field right now.
Right. Right.
But so the game situation is the Chargers have one timeout left.
Mm-hmm.
You are inside the final 2 minutes, I believe.
Yes.
It's 4th and 2, and you're in comfortable field goal range to take the lead. But you're not in the red zone.
There's 26, 147 left in the game from the 20 plus 26.
Right. You go for it instead of kicking the field goal on 4th and 2 and risk, if you don't get it, the Chargers are taking over with 1:40 left and one timeout in a tie game. And you gave away the possession. So to go for it there and get it, which they did, that's a outstanding game situation type decision, and I applaud the Lions for making it.
Sometimes, like, you just kind of like strip it down a little bit. You're like, okay, Jared Goff's our quarterback. He completes 68% of his passes this year. His average yards per attempt is probably like, I don't know, 6.5. We need 2 yards. Like, there's a lot of good favorability in your side. It's just, do you have the stones to say, okay, we know that there's a 22% chance that this won't happen. And that means that 22% of the time it doesn't happen. But it won the game.
You trust the ball in your quarterback's hands. I think that's abundantly clear that Detroit with Jared Goff, this coaching staff, they do.
And it's not the end of the world if you don't get it, right? Like, you still have a
stop.
chance to stop my defense, which you still would have needed anyways if you kicked the field goal right there. You still needed to stop on defense.
Right.
Well, they eliminated that variable and said, you know what? We're going to get a first down. We're going to kick it with no time left. Put it through the pipes.
Joe, we had the Arizona Cardinals defeat the Atlanta Falcons.
I didn't give him any credit. I said Kyler coming off of the injury first game. I expected nothing. And he went out there and made some plays with his legs and made some throws, and they won a football game. The Falcons are reeling, but good for you, Cardinals. Like, they need this window to look at Kyler Murray and really examine their future and their path forward with Jonathan Gannon as this head coach and what they want to be. And I think this is a critical opportunity for them to see how Kyler fits in with this regime. So I think this is good for them.
I have bad news for you, Arthur Smith. You're on the bye. Your next 3 defenses that you have to face are the New Orleans Saints, who are also coming off a bye, the New York Jets, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got Desmond Ridder was back, Taylor Heineke with a hamstring. We're not scoring a lot of points. We're making, I don't know, this team has found a way to lose 1-score games in each of their last 4 games. I'm not going to be picking them to win a lot of games the rest of the way.
Yeah,
I'm fading
not
the
earning
Falcons
it
completely.
They're not earning it.
You lose by 2. You lose by 3 to the Vikings. You lose by 5 to the Titans. You lose by 3 to you beat the Bucs, but then you lose by 8 in a 1-score game to the Commanders.
Can't believe in them.
Wheels falling off the bus here for Arthur Smith and company.
Wheels are not falling off the bus over at FanDuel, because right now new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. You might not want to bet on the Falcons for that, but other teams may be more kind to you. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use, and there's a ton of different things that you can bet on, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Kyle, I got a couple of props for tonight. I have the over on Gabe Davis receptions, 2.5. And I have the over on Josh Allen passing yards, 267.5 over at FanDuel. So that's what I'm rooting for tonight, along with the Bills win. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off this NFL season. It's FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
Okay. Do you want to dive into any of the games?
No, I got a thought or not. I got one.
Okay. Is there any games that we did not acknowledge that you think it would be worth?
Shout out Ryan
Wow,
Spillane,
dude.
not just for like the huge pick, but I
Touch
think he's been playing great all year. Like I've been really enjoyed Ryan Spillane for the Raiders. Like he's been a fun player. I think Antonio Pierce coming out at halftime and saying, you know what, we're a run team. We need to run the ball, and then them just doing it over and over and over. Like it was a boring recipe, but it was the right recipe for them to win that football game. So shout out to the Raiders. They get the 5-5.
Right. Yeah, they interesting team. And we'll find out a little bit more about the Raiders in the next month. Obviously, we're getting into separation season for the league, and teams that go on runs after their buys, and you see that pretty consistently. Teams that make a playoff run, they start winning a lot of their games proportionally right now.
You remember November, right?
Remember November. That's right. So what do you got for us, thought or not?
I want to go to the Giants. And their 49-17 loss. They fell to 2-8. Feels like things are very much crumbling. Brian Daboll pissed off once again. Thought or not? That this is just thought or not. I'm not saying I agree with this. Thought or not? Brian Daboll doesn't coach the New York Giants in 2024.
They can't. You know how many coaches they've done this exact thing to?
Yes.
Like the recent history of New York Giants coaches that are like 2 years and then they're done, or they get a lame duck year. Like you got McAdoo's on that list. Pat Shurmur's on that list. Brian Daboll would hypothetically be on that list. Who was the more recent one after those two guys? Why am I blanking on who was the coach of the Giants before that?
Shurmur was in there.
Did I say
Joe Judge? Joe Judge.
Joe Judge was 2 years.
Well, here's the thing, Kyle. They're picking 2 right now, and they're going to be. I mean, like, dude, where are the wins coming? They're going to be picking early, so you have this really weird opportunity to pick Drake May or Caleb Williams. Like that's like a franchise. Like we're setting a new course. And they just did this. They said that, like, they just committed to Daniel Jones. Not that prevents you from going with May or Williams, but like, how do you want to align? Like, I would love to give my young quarterback to Brian Daboll. I think I would.
So are they picking a quarterback or are they firing Brian Daboll?
Well, is that the dilemma that they're facing? Can you keep Brian Daboll and draft a quarterback?
Man, this would be 8 years in succession of 2 and done coaching staffs, and they made the playoffs last year. I think the crutch of the injuries will be enough.
Give him another year.
That probably would not preclude me from drafting a quarterback. If you're in that spot and you need that much, and please take your time with him. Take your time with him. Don't have to draft a guy and play him immediately. You got, obviously, Daniel Jones with his contract. There's an out after 2 years. I'm not saying redshirt the dude, but give him a chance to get acclimated. So it's not mentally prepared for
a massive swing like that.
Right. Yeah. You usually.
I got another haymaker if you want it. Another haymaker if you want it.
You know what? Go ahead. Give it to me.
Bills, Bengals, Chargers don't make the playoffs in the AFC.
Bills, Bengals, and Chargers.
Heck of a parlay, huh?
All right. So the Bengals schedule the rest of the way.
Well, first of all, acknowledge that it's a true statement right now. The Bengals are 8, the Bills are 9, the Chargers are 12.
Right. Yeah. As of right now, that is a factual statement. Because you have 3/4 of the NFC North in there.
Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Houston, your wild card teams. That doesn't hold serve, right?
Houston's going to mess somebody up. Houston's going to screw somebody because Houston's at 5 right now. They got Arizona.
Oh boy.
They got Denver. They got Tennessee twice.
Oh man.
And then they have the Colts again.
Brother, they're getting 10.
They're getting 10.
At least.
They're getting 10.
They should, but they lost to the Panthers.
Right. You never know when that game's going to show up on the schedule. I did not mention games at home against Jacksonville, who they already beat by 20 points, in New York against the Jets, and then home against the Browns. Those are the other teams that they have on their schedule.
I think it's more like Steelers, Browns, Texans. That's not hold and serve as your 5 through 7. I just don't think it is.
Okay, but you just mentioned that the slew of teams. Is there a team? Who do you trust most out of those 3 teams to break through? And in favor of who?
Bengals, Steelers.
So you think the Bengals end up in instead of the Steelers right now?
At least.
You know, there is some guy in Western New York who is just huffing at this corporate podcast hack sitting here.
Chill. Chill.
That assertion. Joe sent me a really funny text from a comment on Locked On Bills the other day. So that's an inside joke. That I can't top that. So we're gonna stop here. Some Kyle Crabbs, he's Joe Marino. We are Locked On NFL Scouting with Draft Dudes. We appreciate you guys for checking out the show. You can find us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Enjoy Monday Night Football tonight. The Bills against the Broncos. We shall see.
I will. I will.
Talk about it tomorrow. And we're out of here.